Well, we are very excited to have a guest today to discuss the first approaching June primary elections. Today, we are joined by Iowa's Secretary of State, Paul Pate. Thank you so much for being here today. And I just want to communicate that the Iowa DD Council has always appreciated your office desire to partner with our council to make sure Iowans with disabilities can exercise their right to vote. So welcome. And our overall goal today is to inform our self-advocates and their families ways that they can participate in the upcoming primaries. So I have a few questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready, more than ready. And I want to say up front, we appreciate the opportunity to partner with you. It's a significant segment of our population that we want to make sure gets the service they need to be successful in being voters. So thank you for what you're doing, and we'll hope to look forward to continuing our relationship.
Great. Yeah. And I've already went on, and I know you know this, but there's a section on your website that says if you happen to have a disability and how to participate and vote, and that's really helpful. And so we know that it's certainly on the top of the mind of you and your team. So we've got a few starter questions here. So I'll two of them here real quick. What is a primary election, and when is it this summer?
Well, a primary election is going to be held June 7th, and this is I call it more of a party building. It's when the Republican and Democrats choose who will be their nominee for various elected positions to face off in the November election. And you as an Iowa resident can choose one of the political parties. You do have to choose one if you want to vote in that primary, and you'll need to indicate that you're going to be registering as a Democrat or a Republican for the primary. And I will say there are some, though, will do that and then turn around, re-register maybe as a no party afterwards. But to be in the primary, you have to identify with one of the two political parties. And that's as easy as going online, or you can do it right when you go in to vote. If you're doing it on location at a polling site or at the courthouse, it's that easy.
Oh, great. So they can do that online. And then, like you said, at the courthouse or when they go to vote.
Right.
And that is one of the questions that comes up. Do I have to be a specific party? And so we do try to remind people for the primary, they do. And we know it's coming up on June 7th. So, right. Okay, so June 7th comes around, or maybe before June 7th, I realize that I'm not going to be able to vote that way, or maybe I want to give it some thought. Sure. Is there a way that a voter can vote early, and what are their options to cast the vote?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. And one of the things I tell people to be successful, put a plan together. It's not a complicated one, but kind of a plan for how you're going to tackle voting. And there's some basic steps, if you don't mind my outlining them. One is, if you haven't registered, let's get that taken care of for you. You can do that online. You can do it at a courthouse. You can do it almost at any government office. They have the ability to help you with that. But let's get that done. And if maybe you moved or in the past year or two, you might want to get that voter registration updated. And again, you can do that online, or again, at the courthouse or at one of these government offices. So we want to get you started out on the right track. And if you're planning on voting at a polling site, we want you to make sure you've looked up to know where you're supposed to go, because some of those change. And you can do that by going to our site, which is sos.iowa.gov. And you'll have that information there, or you can seek it out from your local county. And those are the basic things to make sure you're prepped and ready. Now, options, you've got plenty. You can start with early voting by absentee, and that actually has started now. You can start requesting those absentee ballots. They won't be mailing them out yet. Those will be coming up shortly, and they'll start mailing them to you. But you can do those requests now, and you need to do that before May 23rd. After that, there's not enough time for the auditor to get you your ballot, and then you in turn to be able to get it back. So we want you to be successful. We want to make sure your ballot gets counted. So if you're doing that approach, that's what you can do. And you can request those absentee ballots. There's a format that's right online. You can do it from your county auditor. Or again, you can vote down at the courthouse early as well, if that works out better for you. So those are all viable options. And then, of course, sometimes they have satellite voting in your counties. Those are things you'll have to look at your county auditor's website to see when and where those might be at. And those can be done at a Hy-Vee store. They might be done at a church. They identify those locations, and that's out there for you to utilize. You also then, of course, have as I mentioned earlier, you can vote at the courthouse. And then we have the good old traditional. You can go on election day. And I think that's one that I'm a little old school. I like to do a compromise. I vote early at the courthouse so I can still feel that I'm voting, but clearly I'm a little busy on election day, so that's easier for me to do it that way. But you can vote again, 7 o'clock in the morning until 8 p.m. At the polling sites on election day, which is going to be June 7th.
Great. So just some key dates there. I definitely heard that they need to request it by May 23rd. And I just want to remind people that, like you said, we get some calls, and I always remind people to let's get online and first start with their county auditor to kind of see what, because they might have a little bit of different if they have a satellite site or if they want you coming to the courthouse, depending on resources. So we definitely start there. And then if they had questions, they can kind of connect to us or certainly your office as well. But I think the county auditors are really the ones that they could start with to kind of make a decision. And then just like you said, that reminder, May 23rd. So I was wondering, a lot of our self-advocates rely on people to assist them and help them. If they're trying to send their absentee vote in, and maybe it's just the delivery of it, are there some directions on who can help them?
Sure. We want you to make sure basically it's a relative or someone you have designated. The legislature took the initiative. We don't want strangers picking up your ballot. It's that simple. I don't want to oversimplify it, but that's really what it's about. It's let's stick to the universe that which is typically a family, and family is pretty extended out. It could be a cousin, but we want to make sure it's someone that is connected to you. And then again, we still give the designation status. So if say someone from your council is servicing these people, or another agency is in that county is servicing people with disabilities, and that would be probably a very legitimate person to designate that help them with their balloting process and submitting it in. But we're trying to stay away from the strangers. It was kind of a message to the political parties. We didn't really want them going door to door and saying, "Hey, I'm here to help you. Let me help you with your ballot." And it's kind of like, well, wait a minute, time out. Are you helping me as a Republican, or are you helping me as a Democrat? So we're just trying to avoid all those conflicts.
Yeah, well, we agree. And I think that, that immediate family member of the household, or a designee that's a relative, and a lot of people rely on natural supports, and those are the key ones. So that definitely clears that up. So, and just like you said earlier, I like that, you choose to vote in person. I think I've always done that the same way. I've sometimes requested the absentee ballot, and then I quit doing that because I was always nervous I would do the next step wrong. But on election day, or that, as you said, they can go in and vote in person at the courthouse during the days. Any additional steps there they need to be thinking about if they have a disability, maybe a visual impairment or a physical disability, any way to kind of make that a little easier the day of?
Well, again, if you want any special assistance, we have curbside voting is something we offer as well. And there's just a simple as maybe doing a call ahead. Otherwise, we have signs on the curb, something my office has provided all the counties to assist with that endeavor, so you know where you should pull up for that curbside assistance. And they can literally come to your vehicle and assist you from there if you'd like. But we work very aggressively with our county auditors on how we train the poll workers themselves, so they can better understand how to assist people coming in who might have a disability. We have special equipment obviously there for some who might need it. But disabilities is a broad spectrum, as you know. Some of them are not visible. And that's where we could always use more help. How you tell us how you need the help. There's something wrong with that. We don't want to assume we're doing it the right way. If someone has something special they need, let us know, and we'll try to accommodate them as much as we can. And that's what the county auditors work to do. I spent a lot of time. We put together a quick checklist that worked with you guys, and we distributed this to all the counties and their poll workers on the sites. So they look at what are we supposed to do to make sure the polling site is readily accessible and user-friendly for people who might have some disabilities. I think we recognize, again, as I said, not all disabilities are physical and that we can see. So any assistance you can give us on that front, we'll do our very best to help out with.
Thank you. That's one of the reminders we also put out there right before the election, is that just to go up there, I think that a lot of people should go, and when they're going to vote, to have a little patience, because there's going to take time to do it right, no matter if you have a disability or not. But also, like you said, just go forward to the polling volunteers and let them know that you're looking for a little more assistance. So that was great. I appreciate all the information. June 7th, make sure that you're registered for a party for the primary. request those ballots before May 23rd. Those are the big key pieces. And we'll send out some reminders over the next month just to kind of make sure people have that information. So, well, thank you for your time. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And any last encouragement before we go?
I just want to encourage everyone to be a voter. Do a little homework on who you're going to vote for. I get enough calls from my own relatives saying, who do I vote for soil conservation commissioner? And I need to do my homework as well for my own voting purposes. But to me, Iowans get it. I applaud them. They step up and they're very active. We're one of the highest states in the country when it comes to voter participation, and I want them to be successful. So if you have suggestions, I would recommend to anybody out there who's watching this video on things we can do to make it even more applicable or easier for people to be successful, please share them with both the council or our office, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate.
All right. Well, we'll see you at the polls. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.